We heard about a story last week that has been a news story that came out and has been a little bit on the internet about another little boy and a relationship with a very special dog. And autism is involved in this story too. And we said, well, we were going to cover it on Friday. And we went, oh, excuse me, no, we have to talk about this with Monica Holloway. Who better? So Emily has it all geared up. We're going to show you the news story first so that you guys can all see. Get the hankies, because it's a great one. So take a look at this very special news story.
A dog in Georgia named Xena the Warrior Puppy has recently found a home with an autistic child, Johnny Hickey. Xena was found abandoned and abused on the side of the road and left for dead about 7 months back. She has since been adopted by the Hickey family. Johnny was previously withdrawn and resistant to speak and interact with others. However, since the arrival of Xena into the home, Johnny is talking up a storm and as happy as he can be. In a statement that can bring tears to almost anyone's eyes, he says, "This is my puppy Xena. Well, my Xena was hurt really bad by some not-so-nice people, and I have autism, so I think we make a pretty perfect team to spread the word to be nice to animals and nice to kids like me." In a similar case, a 7-year-old child, Owen Hawkins, was socially withdrawn and rarely left the house due to a genetic condition. Then, the family adopted a 3-legged shepherd who was rescued after being struck by a train. Owen soon gained confidence and began taking his dog for walks and talking to everyone about his beloved pet.
Yes, we were just appreciating, and I loved what you said about, because we were seeing yet another story. There's your son and these two stories, and what a difference it makes. And you said, people, listen, get a dog.
It's hard. I mean, if you really don't like dogs, or dogs are going to mess up your house to the point where you're going to be so anxious it's not going to be worth it, then you shouldn't get a dog. But if you can get your child to a dog somehow, or to a neighbor who has a dog, or a family person that has a dog,
absolutely,
it really makes a difference when they can take care of something that's more vulnerable or just as vulnerable as they are, or smaller.
And we saw early on with Jem that in our neighborhood where we lived when he was having the most of his intervention, there were always dogs that people were not taking care of and that were running loose, and we were constantly walking around the block and finding a dog that we would take back to the house and hang up the signs, lost dog, and that by dinner time they would come to get the dog.
Oh my goodness.
But it happened many times, and we'd be there with the therapists and getting the dog. When I think about, there was one dog that my husband had to pick up to bring home that must have weighed 60 pounds. This dog, and I remember my husband saying, we found Orson Welles in dog form. But, we were always the people taking the dog home, and it was always amazing to us. And the therapist would always say, because he would just do that much better during that therapy session, because our word for today was reinforcer, and the dog was reinforcing to him. And they would always say to us, you should get a dog. Now, we couldn't where we lived, right? But I have a friend who has more dogs than I think are allowed on the planet in your home. So whenever we could, we would get him together with dogs. And of course, we've talked about now we have a dog, and that's a very fun thing.
Oh, that's so great. That's amazing that he did better in those.
His eye contact would improve.
But it kind of is. That's kind of amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to rescue dogs. We still do, but it's one time Wills and I rescued a golden retriever named Molly from her own front yard.
Oh.
She was sitting by her gate, but she looked lost, and when we went to get her, she came running toward the car, and she had a collar on, but a 310 number, and we were in the valley, an 818 area code, so we put her in the car, and we drove her home, and I called her owner, who was at work, at the 310 number, and he said, where did you find her? And when I told him, he said, that's my house. That's where she lives.
Well, why was she outside?
She got outside of the gate, but she was sitting tight and waiting to go back in. But I rescued her from her own yard. But at least I got her home safe, safely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, the power of dogs. And I understand we also have a little clip of the first little boy singing to his dog, because they have become best friends. And this little boy has really come out of himself and is now interacting with the world because of this dog. So, Emily, show them the clip of the little boy singing with the dog.
You're my favorite deputy.
You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Come on, let's wrangle up the cattle. Wake up, werewolves. On my head is a mouse. They stupid. Chasing up a person that you got finished. stronger too. Minute, I'm finding them, but you always be on you. It's me on you, boy. I guess the years go by. A friendship will never die. A ghost is a guest someday. You got gonna name me.
Oh, just love it. I got this silly grin on my face. But the difference from a child who barely spoke to somebody who's got a huge dog sitting on his lap and gesturing and singing, and you have to, and he looks so much like my son.
Oh, he looks like
That's
Jem,
exactly
yeah.
what Jem looks like. And although he recently has cycled out of, he doesn't look, my son doesn't look quite as little boy as that anymore. I'm sure he doesn't either. But yeah, it just hurts my feelings a little bit. He looks so much like him. But how lovely. And you said, look at how healthy they both look.
Yes.
Wasn't that just a beautiful thing? So there it is, folks. I mean, of course, you got to pick the right dog, and that's a really important thing. But
Or sometimes, in the case of this, they were
The dog
brought
picks
together.
you.
I mean, they were almost, the dog picks you. Exactly, that's perfect.
Pretty amazing, pretty amazing. And love to see the other dog kind of sneak in his head and like, I'd like to get in on this. What a wonderful, wonderful thing. A dog that was left for dead and really found a home and is making a difference for that family and for that little boy.